to episode 27 of Me Dark Presents Scary Movie Madness.
Oh man, we still haven't changed it up enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we just got off of the back of an epic game night. One of our longest podcasts ever. With the great Lacey as a guest. That was fun.
OMG. Yeah. Still.
What?
I'm ready to get out of scary movie madness for a little
All right.
bit, I
Well,
think.
we're actually, what's cool about this podcast is we have two movies here, but one of them is pretty, it's horror, but the other one is kind of just comedy, which is kind of fun. Mm-hmm. And the reason why we decided to do it is because you had sent me one of our favorite clips of this movie, and we hadn't watched it in a while, and I was like, we should just do it for Me Dark.
Yeah, and the reason I sent the clip too is because it reminds me of a moment with Lacey when we were working at the same place, and our friend Paige had to watch the cameras for like an issue. She was looking for something else and happened upon this footage of Lacey and another person who worked for me. It was basically this clip. So it was them
pretending to jerk off on each other.
Pretty much pretending to spray jizz everywhere. And so when I see that clip and you get to that point of James Franco being like, juice all over you, like just, and he's getting all mad and like,
come wherever I want.
Danny McBride's like, I'll do whatever I fucking want. Come wherever I want. Come all over your shit. That's what it reminded me of. And I was like, damn it. This would have been perfect.
I wish I had that footage.
Of them on the cameras? I wish I had that footage.
I wish
I'm surprised Paige didn't like record it and have it on her phone.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I wish I would have known about it when it happened, because I would have just helped Paige get me that footage somehow. I don't know how legal it is to get like surveillance footage of like a shop like that.
Oh my God. People like share this shit from like McDonald's and stuff when people wall out because the ice cream machine's broken.
Some of my favorite videos are fast food mayhem. I love fast food mayhem.
That should just be its own segment.
We should do a fast food mayhem segment for sure. That'd be fun.
Oh my God, there's some that I think of in my head right now, and I'm just like, oh, that fucking video.
There's some classic ones.
Yeah.
I saw one where this woman, she like orders her food. I think so anyway. I think it's at a fast food place. And she just steps back, pulls down her pants, and shits on the floor.
What? I never saw that.
Yeah. I got to see if I could find it.
Usually the ones I see are
think
like
it was on your
fight
mom's
related
house.
when people like.
There's some epic fight ones too, for sure. So we'll be talking about This Is the End. That's the movie that we were referencing. And this other movie, Slither, which was recommended to me by my friend Pete. And I can't believe I've never seen that movie. It came out in 2006.
I feel like I've always heard about it so much, and then it was just like, oh, I never watched it. I mean, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was just about time we watched it.
We've also been knocking around some ideas about maybe doing a giveaway again soon.
Yeah.
So I was sending you some cool ideas. There's one, they're doing the metal Chucky skull from Child's Play 2, which I thought was interesting.
It's cool. We seem to have a lot of Chucky fans.
Yes.
Which, by the way,
it's
her first appearance.
Yeah, Tiffany's here in the back. I don't know how well you could see her because we've switched up the camera this time, and I can't get like as wide with this camera, but it's a nicer lens. So.
Yeah.
And then there's a new Saw movie coming out this week.
We got to catch up though.
Well, I don't know that you have to. I mean, I've not seen all the Saws, but every once in a while when I pick one up, it's not like you need a tremendous amount of backstory. Well, there is always
the story about who's doing it. So if you really are like trying to connect the dots throughout watching.
It always seems like it's either Jigsaw or a copycat, and he's like playing with the cops who are trying to find him. But that's kind of what's going on here in this one. And it's Chris Rock, who, listen, I think Chris Rock, he's a talented stand-up comedian. He's not my cup of tea in terms of stand-up. But
I never liked the just overly screaming loud people.
It's just not my thing. It's like, I don't like Kevin Hart's stand-up either, but I love Kevin Hart, the personality. I love the man, Kevin Hart.
It's like if you take the funniest clips from the stand-up, I'll listen, but like I couldn't sit there for 2 hours.
Yeah, it's just not my... And Chris Rock has been doing a lot of acting lately, and he actually was in the new season of Fargo, which I know you don't watch Fargo, but I've watched it since the beginning. And this was the first season that I just couldn't finish it. Chris Rock's character was fine, but because he's like one of the main staples on the show, I was just kind of like, I just got bored of the show over time where I'm like, this season didn't have those interesting characters like it had had previously.
Yeah.
And he's the lead in this one. It's him and Sam Jackson. I think Sam Jackson plays his dad. And
in Saw?
In Saw, yeah.
What?
Yeah. And he's a detective and he gets like a package mailed to him and it's like got a USB drive on it. He plugs it in and it's got like this video and it's the Jigsaw
When does this come out?
It'll actually come out probably when this podcast airs, which is this Friday, the 14th.
Yep.
That's if I'm able to get the podcast out. If not, then this podcast will come out the following week.
Yeah, we're really slacking big
It's been
time.
a little more bi-weekly than weekly.
Sorry, y'all.
But yeah, I mean, I'm curious to watch it just because it's a new horror film, and you know, we talk about these horror movies, and it's always good to be relevant and recent with stuff. So let's talk about Slither from 2016. This one, Jesus, this one's directed by James Gunn. This guy did Guardians of the Galaxy, man. Like he's a stud. And then they fired him from Guardians of the Galaxy for some tweet thing. Like he got canceled. I don't know what it was.
I'm pretty sure it was like a Me Too thing.
I don't know. It wasn't. It was a tweet it was like a derogatory tweet that he had sent like years ago, probably around the time that Slither came out, right? When he was like a young director. And it's like they go back into these people's tweets and they find like, I gotcha.
It's so annoying, especially like Twitter back in the day, because you could only write so many characters that like, anything you wrote in the moment that you wrote it would be misconstrued later on.
That, and also, I mean, the world changes so much. Let's face it, it's a different world now than it was then. You could get away with different things. I mean, even in This Is the End, which was what? 2013, right? I'm pretty sure it was, right? There's some stuff in that where it's like, you can't joke about some of that stuff anymore. Like things became, so... I don't know. I don't remember what the tweet was, but I think it was something along those lines where it was something that was considered inappropriate by today's standards. But.
Right. But it's not even about that. Like there's even, Chrissy Teigen, people went to the depths of her Twitter in the midst of like all of the Democrats eat children and shit. And she used to watch Toddlers and Tiaras, and she had a bunch of tweets watching Toddlers and Tiaras, and people turned it into like she's a pedophile. She talks about wanting to eat these kids and then talks about pizza.
Right.
And it's like, or she was just like every other person in America watching this shit show that you don't have a problem with and eating pizza at the same time, which is pretty fucking normal.
Yes.
But you take Twitter and you combine it to the conspiracy you want to see.
It's just funny that people think that Twitter like represents the real world. This
I
is
know.
Like when
I
talk to you about like Reddit comments all the time, because like Reddit has gotten to the point where if you subscribe to a subreddit, which is supposed to be something that you enjoy, like you have the power to subscribe to something you like.
Yep.
The comment section is just riddled with negative things about the subject at hand.
And it's like, do you guys like this, or do you just come here so that you could see how insane of a comment you can post?
That's how I feel. That's what Twitter is about. It's just about like garnering a reaction.
I feel like that's all of social media now.
It is. It
everywhere you go.
It sucks. Well, in this case, it sucks because you have creative people like James Gunn, who is not a bad guy.
I wonder what the tweet was.
He made a misstep, and Marvel overreacted, quite frankly. And then he got signed on to do the Suicide Squad movie. And Guardians of the Galaxy 3 has been delayed as a result, because once they fired James Gunn, they couldn't get a director to fill the role. And a bunch of the actors, I think Dave Bautista was one of like the loudest about it. He's like, I'm not going to be in Guardians 3. He's like, it's James Gunn's thing. Like that's his whole vision. Like you can't steal it from him.
But again, like this is also what's so annoying about capitalism, because it's like they made that rash decision because they had to, or they risked losing millions of dollars. And so the pressure was like, all right, do we just pull this guy and get someone else from a sea of other producers, directors?
That's what they attempted to do.
Yeah.
But I mean they admitted their mistake in the end. Like he got hired back and he's going to do Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is great.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But Slither. He also, he wrote Dawn of the Dead. He wrote Scooby-Doo. He's a very versatile, creative guy. I love guys like this who you can give them any challenge and they can really figure out a way to do it in a unique way. And I think that's what Slither is. It is sort of, it's like first of all, it's like an homage to a bunch of different horror, but at its core, it's like a sci-fi alien version of a zombie movie, right? That's kind of the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, I would say so. What's that movie that we just recently watched where they were all like, it's like the COVID thing?
Oh, The Crazies.
The Crazies.
Yeah.
It's like, it's almost like that. It's like that same kind of vibe of a movie. I don't know why. I'm really bad with movie titles.
You know why you get that? Because it's the same kind of, it's the small town. Yeah, that's what it is. It's the small
town. And now everybody's taken over by this little fucking thing.
Yes, with the cop who's the leading man. So the one thing right off the bat that really strikes me as odd here is you have Elizabeth Banks, a young Elizabeth Banks, playing this character of Starla Grant, who is married to a much older man in Michael Rooker. So what did you think of this dynamic of like having Elizabeth Banks and Michael Rooker? Did you get any chemistry from them? What was the vibe?
I don't think you were supposed to, though. You were supposed to get this feeling that they were like a broken marriage, but falling apart.
See, we see that because he cheats on her like right away, pretty early in the film.
Yeah, but it's also in the point when she doesn't want to sleep with him. He's like, you never want to. Like, they set that stage.
That is true, yeah. They do kind of, they don't come off as
You see the moment of that, and then you see why he's doing it. It was like, you're getting the pieces of, like, what he's doing, and you're like, this is fucked up. What an asshole. But then you realize, like, she doesn't even want to, like, be intimate with her husband. And that's, like, the number one thing that drives people away.
I think that's fair. And to be honest, I'm willing to look past it because Michael Rooker he's such a good bad guy.
Yeah.
You see Michael Rooker on camera and he just has like this swagger about him, like you're a bad guy.
He's a mean mugger.
And Michael Rooker, he was great in Walking Dead too. Remember he plays Daryl's brother.
Merle.
I think it's something like that. Yeah,
some weird name.
Oh God, I long for that. Like when Walking Dead first started, it was so fucking good.
And then it just went.
And then it just really. I mean, it had its ups and downs. I shouldn't say that it never had like pinnacle moments after that.
I feel like we stopped watching it after The Farm. It was like The Farm was the last season.
No,
where they had to kill the little girl.
We stopped watching
to kill the daughter
shortly after Negan. So
that's right.
The Negan thing happened, and I was sort of in the minority with the Negan thing because I was excited that they stayed true to the comic.
But they didn't really.
They expanded on it, but they did the Glenn kill, right? Yeah. Which I was like, that's the kill they need to do. Like that's such a moment in the comic where Negan becomes this other, he's like larger than life, right? Yeah. Because he just took out
Zero
Glenn,
Fox,
which is a big deal.
Yeah, they thought he was bluffing and he wasn't.
And they did that, and I think so many people that didn't read the comics were so off put by it that they stopped watching.
Like Glenn survived way longer than he was supposed to, right? Because of all the rewrites.
Well, things are out of order.
That's what I mean.
So, and honestly, that was the next thing with that show is they just let things go on for too long.
Yeah.
They needed to just, it took too long.
Let shit end in a season. Like, it doesn't have to fucking carry the same story to the second season and cliffhanger me on 400 storylines.
It just took too long to get to Negan. Negan should have been, season 3.
That's what I mean. It's like, they hung on to storylines for multiple seasons before you wrapped it up. It's like, just speed the timeline up, bitch. Like, we don't need all this. It's the same thing.
So this movie, the way that it kicks off really is with the meteor. This meteor basically carries this alien wormy thing into this small town in South Carolina, right? It crashes into the woods, and Grant is making out with oh God, how weird was this, right? I think he's out at the bar or something, and this younger woman again comes up to him, and she's like, "Remember me? I was so and so's sister," and she had the biggest crush on him when she was 11 or 12.
No, it's not even you get this whole story about I was always there and blah blah blah, and it's he's like, weren't you were 12, and she's like, yeah, but I was willing, and I was like, the fuck?
She was DTF with Michael Rooker at 12 years old.
12? I was playing with Barbie dolls in my dream house and a karaoke machine. I wasn't in trying to look at old dudes.
Yeah, so they end up going out into the woods and to make out. I don't know why, but they're in the woods and this thing the thing crashes earlier. He just now is discovering the thing that crashed. They follow the trail over and we get this gooey white wormy thing. And then that little spike pokes up. It looks like a vagina on top, and the spike thing pokes up out of the vagina. I
don't know what vaginas you've seen.
And it points towards him. And I'm like, what? Get out of the way. It's going to shoot you.
It's obviously going to get you, dude. How long are you going to sit there?
Shoots him right in the chest.
Kick that thing. Something.
Yeah.
Yep, shoots him dead on, and you're done.
We get one of these shots, which this was such a thing for so long, and I haven't seen it in a long time. The X-ray shot
of it going through.
Yeah, of the thing, like the
it's
thing goes
cool,
through and up into his brain.
Too.
But those shots were always cheesy. It's so hard to make that look good. I mean,
I get why they did it. They wanted you to see what happens to this thing and where it goes.
It works. So it slithers all the way up into his brain. And then he gets right back up and he just starts like walking off. She's like, Grant, where the fuck? Like, what just happened? Dead. It's like bleeding from the nose.
Yeah, she thought he was dead.
So they do like this thing when he gets home. He's looking in the mirror and he's got the blisters and shit forming on his neck. He's creeping up in the shower on her like he's going to do something bad, but he kind of pulls himself out of it. And I think it's just a cool little way to do the transformation slowly where we kind of see that. He's not a zombie. Like, he's still in there. Right? It's not like Grant has completely lost control yet.
This is what we talked about, too, because it's one of the things that's kind of weird to me is that this thing takes over his brain and controls, but he still is cognitive to be...
Yes, which means he's not dead. This thing hasn't killed him.
That's what I mean. Yeah. It's like he knows the names of people around him. Like if something was taking over your brain, essentially, like think like Freaky, right? That movie that we watched, where when Vince Vaughn takes over her brain, he has to play along and catch on and pretend to be this girl. But like in this case, it's really Grant.
It's really Grant.
But he does weird shit.
You know what the best contrast I can come up with for this is Men in Black. You remember Men in Black when the bug creature takes over?
Yep.
I think it's Vincent D'Onofrio plays that character amazingly because he really does transform into like a meat puppet, right? I mean, the way he moves and everything is amazing. But in that scenario, it's so clear that the bug has just killed him. And it's just now puppeting his body.
Puppeting him.
This is not the case with Grant, which I like. I like
a slow
this
burn.
Yeah, I like this like slow kind of transformation where we still get a little bit of Michael Rooker in there, you know?
Yep.
But holy shit, like, talk to me about his fucking like belly tentacle things. How I think these are gnarly.
The first time you see that, though, is when he's sleeping with that other girl again.
Yes, so they try to pick up from where they left off. There's like a big thing in the town going on. The mayor's giving a speech, and Starla is there with the cop. They're listening to the mayor's speech, and this gets juxtaposed with Grant and that girl again from the woods.
Yeah. This is just weird because I remember watching this, and obviously the girl thinks like everything's fine until like his shirt comes off and then you're like,
yeah, holy shit.
What is that? Is it like 4 dicks? Like, what's happening? Is this like one for every hole? Like awful. But then it just juts like into her abdomen area and you don't even know what's happening though. It was like, I couldn't understand like, was it feeding? It wasn't feeding though. No, you find out later. No, I thought he was feeding on the body.
It's purposely ambiguous though, I think.
Right. Like you think like is she gonna die? Is he just making her one of him? Like so many different things, but you never can guess what it actually was gonna be.
No. It's crazy because before we even get to that point with the reveal, there's like more weird shit with Grant, right? Like he padlocks the basement when she busts down there and she finds the fucking dead animals.
But like, how does that not stink your whole house up?
It definitely would.
There's no shot that it doesn't.
There are so many.
That's what I mean. Like there's mountains.
It's never ending.
Hanging from the like, there's no floor. Your floor is now a sea of carcasses.
It's everywhere.
Oh yeah, no. This is a roadkill garage sale, is what this is. Like this is not normal. Like all the roadkill in this entire town in my house. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not really roadkill because he killed them all, but you get it.
I love it. But pretty much after this point is like, this is where we kind of completely lose Grant. And I think this creature starts to take over. Even though it does still like Grant, it still carries like Grant's motivations though to like protect his wife. Like there's like a certain,
there's a struggle. There's a push and pull struggle of like, again, how much is taking over. It's that slow burn. Mm-hmm. I think one of the creepiest things though is like, there's a scene where they're chasing him in the woods.
Yeah, I love this
And he's
scene.
standing up, but then all of a sudden, like to run away, he's like a fucking giant salamander thing. Like,
I love that
my
scene.
God.
Because it's pretty much right after they reveal the dead animals thing. They're stalking him in the woods, like they've tracked him out somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's like him and a cow.
Yeah.
Remember? And he takes the cow down with his tentacle. And at this point, he looks crazy, man. I love this creature design. I think is really cool.
I mean, the makeup is really good, especially like time it was and how advanced things are now.
Yeah.
It still looks so good considering you had to basically put him in like a whole fucking body prosthetic.
Great.
And
But
only keep
I
half his
especially
face.
like the design, though, in this scene specifically.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
he
yeah.
gets even more like Jabba the Hutt later.
Yeah. This is like still you're half
This
human.
is like the peak look of the
Yeah.
the monster to me, is this scene when
this
he
is
kills
the peak
cow.
hybrid, you mean?
Yep.
Like where you still know
oh
it's a
my God.
person.
And that one cop, the funny cop, he has the best description of it. He's like, it looks like something that fell off my dick during the war.
Lots of dick references in this movie.
Oh my
All the little slither things look like little dicks.
Yeah, the
Riding
little
like
skinned-
little skinned dicks.
That's what you said, yeah. There's some phallic stuff going on.
Yeah, the
I
way
guess.
that they move and like the fact that they like are just trying to fucking get in any hole in your body.
Well, they go in through your mouth.
Yeah, but I think that they'll take anything, to be honest.
I just love, but those little injections of comedy like that, like those lines.
Yeah.
I just love, it just marries so well with the story that they're telling. Like this comedy horror is just a great gel here.
I was going to
feel
say, it's also just like not taking the situation like so serious. Like I think what sometimes makes horror movies not good is like when they try to just go too serious, like everyone thinks this is completely normal and we have to get through it together, and it's so like matter
it's unrealistic.
of fact. It's unrealistic, like that someone wouldn't make a joke to lighten the moment.
Yeah,
or,
there are people that's a defense mechanism for them. They're afraid.
Yeah.
Right? So they act out with humor. Like that's a comfort to them.
That's what I do.
Right.
When I'm uncomfortable, I make jokes. Bad ones, but I make them.
We get a really cool kill here. This is right before he slithers away, like you were talking.
Yeah.
He just like, I don't know, some dumbass like pops up behind him and he just like lashes his tentacle.
Sliced.
And slices him in half.
So finely done.
Yes.
That it like slowly is opening. That was like crazy. And then just the whole thing.
Yeah.
All your insides.
I mean,
splatter.
it looked really cool. Right before he splits in half, he's like looking around.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
like,
like, the
no,
fuck,
bro,
man?
like you're dead. If you're split in half, you're not looking around. You're dead.
Well, there's
And
like
the
those
slow peel, like
nerve
it just,
ending things that happen.
I
right?
suppose. I mean, it should. The way that they do it is like he's still thinking about like,
Yeah.
what just happened to
His
me.
eyes are like rolling back as he fucking splits in half and folds to the ground. Yeah.
This is probably the best scene, though, I think. When they find
The girl.
fucking
So, like-
impregnated with like
But that's
millions
exactly it.
of
Like
these
you
fucking
didn't know
things.
what it was at first. Like first I looked at it and thought it was just that he kept feeding her, right? Because you kept seeing him just bring bowls of like
And
the
she
food.
even says, I'm so hungry.
I've
I didn't know
never
you
been
could.
this hungry.
I didn't know anybody could be this
That's
hungry.
the scene where I'm like, this is to an extreme that made this like
It looks
a
cool.
pretty good movie to like, it's all right. for me.
Really? See, I love
I
this.
hate this
I
scene.
love this.
I hate the way they approached it. I hate the character that she is. I hate that she's like, can you just pass me that bowl?
No, I think it's a possum.
Whatever the
She
fuck it
wants
is.
to
The
eat
possum. Yeah.
yeah.
Please pass me that possum right there. Like, I hate it.
Oh,
I hate that whole scene.
That's interesting because I find that scene to be so charming and I love the whole twist of like, okay, she's fucking huge and impregnated and she's about to burst and shit's gonna go down.
I didn't know it was impregnated.
I just love I love the mechanism for
get
like, because it was so plausible to have the one little thing latch onto him.
Yeah.
Right. And then you can use that to do the pregnancy thing. And then it
Right.
becomes like you could make millions of these things now. You
Yeah.
don't have to just have the one. So now it's like you're doubling or tripling the threat.
But like literally what that image shows me is like they're just all over her body stacked up, like over her skeleton and shit. Think of it that way.
Yeah.
It's like they're not
fucking
in her
wild.
body, they're under the skin.
Yeah.
Because she's big everywhere. She's a giant mountain
Yeah.
of slither dicks. Like
Yeah.
she's slither dick mountain.
Yes. Pretty much.
But it's so weird. It actually reminds me of Tusk. The whole like shape and the way that the face is.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
It looks very similar.
And then what do you think of the aftermath of this, though? Because all of the little slither dicks, as you call them, they start just jumping into everyone's mouth, taking over everyone. Mm-hmm. I think Bill like tackles Starla and he covers their mouth, and then like the slithers just like give up. And
That's what
away.
I was like.
I didn't
weird
like that.
too.
I thought that was silly.
Yeah, again, I was like, whatever. Isn't it just going to try and get in your pants, go up your butt?
I'm like, yeah, there's other orifices
That's what I'm saying. Can go in your ear.
Maybe it has to be through the mouth. I don't understand why, but
maybe. I mean, I would think like nose, ears, anywhere that they can get to the brain.
Yeah.
I don't know. Definitely a weird thing, but I guess also the way that you make a movie where you could survive it is like just don't open your mouth.
Right. Yeah. No, I like that. I like there being like an actual way to defend yourself against these things.
Yeah.
I love the scene in the bathroom with the
daughter.
You know, the girl. I think Kylie is her name. Mm-hmm. And she's just listening to music in the bubble bath,
chilling.
The slither dick comes in, and it actually like it launches itself into her mouth, and she sort of like catches it.
But at the same time, like I get her headphones were on. If that thing was rapidly moving through the water, I would 100% feel the water around me, and I'd be like, the fuck is that?
Yeah, you probably would.
I probably would have jumped up out of the bath.
Yeah.
So like I get that, but a little unbelievable. But yeah.
Sure. But I mean, I buy it for the logistics of the scene and what they, you know, what's creepy about it. I totally get the creep factor of it.
I mean, what's the
attacking
blood?
You in a vulnerable spot like that?
Yeah, it's just also weird like that her mouth is all bloody.
Well, because I guess it was like biting at her mouth or her tongue or something like that. What's really cool too is like while it's attaching itself, she starts seeing like flashes and memories of the alien planet, and then she starts seeing Grant's memories,
Earth, and then Grant and what he's seen and what he's done.
I think it's smart that he did that with those little inserts.
Yeah,
because when they pair the fact that this thing has the alien's memories and Grant's memories, it still reinforces that Grant is still somewhere inside of our monster.
100%.
And now what's interesting is like he is basically all these things are an extension of him.
Yeah.
Right? For them to have his memories like that, they're all an extension of him.
Yeah, it's like piecing together like the ultimate reveal.
Mm-hmm. I love the scene also because she's able to get the thing out of her mouth and run off, but the rest of her family gets possessed.
Destroyed.
Yeah. And it is pretty fucking horrifying too. She runs out into the pickup truck and she locks herself in there, and her whole family just starts.
We're a family, like the mom,
surrounded.
like they are again still that same thing of like.
And her little sister is creepy as Kylie.
So creepy. Anytime you do kids, terrifying.
But I love that. I didn't expect to see like a genuine like scare suspense moment in this movie.
That
like from
was
what
the big one.
Like I just thought it was going to be a goofy horror comedy, but they do some like legitimate horror stuff.
Yeah, you were like, it's a horror comedy. I'm like, this isn't. I'm not calling this a horror comedy.
It actually has a lot more suspense than I expected.
Not as much comedy to give that title.
Yeah,
there's comedic aspects, but it's not a comedy.
No, I was surprised. I thought it was going to be more like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I do love that reveal at the end where because they just start taking over everyone, right? It's really just a small subset of them that are able to get away.
I mean, it's such an interesting idea for the alien monster that like it's insatiable. Yeah, like creating as many of these things as you can
until there's nothing left to consume.
But then you realize that they're all gravitating to Grant.
Yeah, they all become Grant. Every single one of them that he inhabits, he controls as an extension of him. He's talking to his wife Starla, in that final showdown as
the cop,
him, but as all the other people that he's absorbed and all these different voices. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's because the people all become drawn to him and like they literally start to attach.
That's when he
him.
gets really Jabba the Hutty.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. But even before then, it's back to that scene when the girl bursts and they start taking over the cops, right? And Starla keeps talking to everybody, and they're talking to her like they're Grant, and she's just like, "What the fuck is going on? This is so weird."
Yeah.
And then you realize later it's just because like they're all him now.
They're all merging into him. He's just going to become one gigantic slug of people.
One gigantic slither dick.
Yeah, I mean, holy shit. I mean, it is a terrifying creature when you think about it.
Oh yeah, the thing is so crazy looking.
Now, I think the biggest problem I have with this movie is the cheesy way that they're able to kill him.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. First of all, Bill comes in because he rescues Kylie from the pickup truck. They go and meet Starla because Grant has her captured. So they're going to go try to get Starla away from Grant. And Bill comes in with a grenade and gets knocked out of his hand. But this is just weird. Like, he gets knocked out of the house. One of his stomach tentacle things plunges into Bill. Mm-hmm. But the other one, like, Bill's like fighting with it. He's like, no.
Yep.
He sticks it in a fucking propane tank. Remember this? Do you remember this? And so one of Grant's tentacles is sucking on
the fucking
propane. And I guess Starla has a gun and she's like, I'll just shoot into the belly and it'll ignite the propane and kill him. Mm-hmm. Huge explosion.
Huge.
I'm like, there's no shot. Like, you can't just shoot like propane and expect it to blow up like that. There's no way. You need a spark.
The spark is literally the bullet piercing through a metal container.
But she's not shooting the container. She's shooting skin.
Oh, well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this, there's no way that this would translate.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure too that Mythbusters did a thing on this where they shot through propane containers with bullets, and it was hard to get it to explode.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm
like
sure
you
it
needed
is.
a certain kind of bullet.
You can't make that shit easy.
No.
Like literally, like the whole point of it is to create fire. So fire is never far from the propane tank. So like it doesn't make sense that like it would be so easy to ignite.
I mean, I get that they didn't want to do the grenade because it's just too easy of a kill.
This is like your issue with the fucking cars blowing up.
What do you mean? Oh yeah, no, it doesn't work like that. Yeah, it just physics don't allow.
Like, watch it back, and like the fucking tank explodes before it even hits the mountain, and you're like, what? You didn't even detonate it right.
Yeah, no, it was like the detonated explosion or whatever, the remote
happened
detonator
before the van nosedived.
Yes.
It was still in the air, and then the tank just blows up.
Classic.
I mean, it's so fast, but like obvious when you look back.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, fine. I get they didn't want to do the grenade thing because it's just too quick and easy for him to just walk in and throw the grenades. So like, how else can we get him to blow him up?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he'll just suck on this propane line or whatever. I don't know. I mean, otherwise awesome movie. Like, I really did love this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there could have been other ways to achieve the same effect.
At least they tried to go interesting, but I don't think they hit the mark there.
Yeah, again, it can be interesting all day, but if it's not realistic, it doesn't matter if it's interesting.
So let's move on to This Is the End.
This is the End.
2013. Yep. We've seen this movie a bunch of times.
Yeah, because it's so good.
Classic.
It's just
comedy.
like ridiculously like funny.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid
I like
funny.
though that this has horror elements in it. Like it's a nice bridge, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting how much they spent on like CGI to get.
I know it looks pretty good.
Yeah, again for like it being a comedy situation. Like
I think they had originally because this one's written and directed by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. Mm-hmm. These guys, they always work together. They did. What was it? They did the Pineapple Express movie. They did Superbad, The Green Hornet, The Interview, Sausage Party.
I love Sausage Party.
Like almost everything that Seth Rogen is involved in from a creative standpoint, this guy Evan Goldberg is always like his right-hand man.
Yeah, it's good shit.
I think that they had originally asked for like a $50 million budget or something like that from Sony to make this movie, and I think they settled on $30 million.
Oh, just a cool 30 mil.
But I mean,
they had some
I think it was money well spent. Like there's a lot of VFX shots in this movie, which is not typical of like how many movies does Seth Rogen do that he has to worry about VFX budgets?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, usually it's like dream sequence stuff.
Or like just like invisible effects, like a set extension or remove this, wire or something like that.
All those things that I know all about.
Well, that's the kind of visual effects that you don't notice.
I'm
right?
just kidding.
It's like stupid background cleanup stuff. That's like shit that we do all the time at work.
Yeah.
But this movie, man, it always stood out to me as being so refreshing and original. Like I just love this concept.
I love the way that they poke fun at their real selves throughout the whole thing. Like, it's all these celebrities that you know and that you know as characters in other movies, and they play themselves, but they play a parody of themselves.
Yeah, I can't think of another movie that's like that. Has this been done? It had to have been done before.
I'm sure there's
where
similar.
you have a bunch of very well-known comedians and actors like that all in a movie playing themselves. Has that ever happened?
Playing a parody of themselves as themselves.
Right.
Like, it's Jonah Hill, but this character version of who Jonah Hill is, not him.
Well, that's sort of what they said was, in order to like make their characters funnier.
Yeah.
They basically said like, all right, well, who is so-and-so in real life? Let's make them act the opposite of that. So like Michael Cera is the complete like
nice
extreme opposite of what Michael Cera would be.
He is instead a huge raging drug addict asshole.
Yeah, he's doing cocaine constantly at the party. He's slapping Rihanna's ass.
She slaps him in the face and she was like, motherfucker. Yeah.
I read about that one too, because apparently they tried to get a take where he wasn't actually slapping her ass. Like, that was the plan, to just like make it look like he was, but they couldn't get the angle right. Like, it wasn't working.
Yeah.
No matter what they did, so Michael Cera was like, is it okay if I slap your ass? And she's like, yes, but I'm going to slap you for real then after.
Fair enough. That sounds like Rihanna.
Oh, that's a nice trade-off.
I mean, she does it pretty realistic.
It's a real fucking slap.
Well, I'm saying, like, even her reaction, acting, like, motherfucker, what? Like,
he's so amazing in this movie.
He's so funny.
Such a memorable character.
The fact is he's so nerdy, neurotic, and then you're trying to make him like a drug addict badass. Like, he's so like fucking brave and like, yeah, like raging.
It's amazing.
So good. But then Jonah Hill kissing ass, amazing.
Oh my God.
Everything.
And he's got the earring and shit.
The earring.
And he's just so phony. Like, he's so fake. Like, it's just like, so Jonah Hill must be the most genuine, honest guy in real life, because he's the complete opposite of that in this movie. He's the phoniest, fakest motherfucker.
He's like the blow smoke up your ass guy.
Yes.
He's just like, even if he doesn't like you, he pretends to like you. That's the whole not the Danny McBride thing. What's the other guy? Jay?
Oh, Jay, yeah.
Yeah, he pretends like he is.
God.
Like, yeah, Jay, you're so cool, man.
The subtle digs at Jay without actually digging at Jay.
Yeah.
Most of the movie is pretty much improvised, I think. I think that's how you're able to get those really unique moments. And, you know, that, holy shit, is it funny? Like, there's just so many things.
It's just the mix of personalities, like James Franco with Jonah Hill, with Danny McBride, with Seth Rogen. I
love it. So the premise is great too, because it's like, it's pretty simple, right? At its core, the main conflict in the story is between Seth and Jay. There's that moment where like your old friends and your new friends don't mesh, right? That's where Seth Rogen is right now. Like, Jay comes into town to visit him. Jay just wants to like chill, like they always did. Like, he's his old best friend.
Yep.
But Seth has become like this big Hollywood guy now, and he knows all these important people, and Jay's not interested in that world.
Yep.
So what's cool is like they pair this very simple. There's these two friends that are at odds. There's this little conflict between them because they've been friends their whole life, but now they're kind of going separate ways. They're drifting apart. And they pair that with the end of the world.
Like, not only is my friendship ending, but now the world is ending at the same time.
Which is, on paper, like if you were to pitch that to me, it doesn't sound like it should work. Yeah. Like, what do those two stories have in common? But it does work for whatever reason. Yeah. So they go to fucking, what do you think of Franco's house?
Franco's house is like what our house would be when we can build it. But like,
that thing's a fucking compound.
Not like for real, but like in the sense like it's so extra. This stupid thing, like the TV coming out of the ground, and he's like, oh yeah, look, man. And it's like rising up, like, yo, his TV's like in the floor.
His artwork everywhere, like the Rogen and the Franco.
The giant penis.
Oh my God. Oh yeah. I mean, this house is a character.
Are you guys using the giant dick? No? All right, I'm gonna take it. He slides it away.
Oh my God. He's amazing. Yeah. Craig Robinson, man. So yeah, they're at the party, and this is basically where we meet all the celebrity cameos.
Emma Watson just feels so random in this.
It does feel fucking random.
Like, of all the female partnerships in that lineup of dudes, like Emma Watson, you took Hermione from Harry Potter, but maybe that's exactly why, so that they could make the joke they make.
Yeah.
We got fucking owned by Hermione.
Honestly, I think it was supposed to be Mila Kunis.
That would make more sense.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Mila Kunis. I think Emma Watson was a weird, like, last minute addition that just.
There's so many other people I could think to put in there.
But you know what? The fact that
Anna Faris.
But the fact that she is so out of place is almost like more believable and more funny to me.
True.
For some reason. So what's cool though is while this party's going on, the rapture happens and like people start getting sucked up into heaven,
the black hole,
and
or hell.
Well, yeah, because the fucking ground starts opening. Michael Cera is on. They're all on the lawn because there's just fucking commotion everywhere. And Michael Cera is like yelling at everybody. He's like, "Who took my fucking phone?" He's like all pissed off.
Empty your pockets.
Yeah, everybody empty your pockets. He's like the star of this party the whole time.
Because he's just a raging cokehead in it.
But his kill is awesome. Like the fucking street light impales him.
Yep.
And I think he gets a phone call and he's like, "Oh shit, that's embarrassing." Like he had the phone on him the whole time.
Oh shit, that's embarrassing.
And then they all just start. All of our celebrities just start getting sucked into the hole.
Yeah. I mean, this is like the scene about like the one Aziz. Where Jay and Aziz, is the Aziz thing, yes, which is funny.
The Aziz thing's great because like Aziz is clearly savable. Like he's not that far in the hole.
No.
It's pretty easy for Craig Robinson to just like stop and just pick him up. Like it wouldn't take long at all.
Just like,
and Aziz is like pleading as much. He's like, "Come on, man." And Craig Robinson just goes, "It's too late for you, Aziz. You already know." He just runs.
But then there's the one with Jay and the other guy, and he's like, "I'm just gonna give you my full weight, and you're gonna swing me up, and you can do that, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, I can do that."
Oh my
God.
And
it's like, no, dude, like nobody can do that. Like
you
no one. John fucking Cena can't do that.
No.
Like so,
no
like your one hand holding you up and then swinging someone else's full weight. Yeah, nobody is doing that.
He falls immediately.
I love it so much. They draw it out so much, and then he just immediately falls. And you're just like, this is stupid. He's gonna fall.
So so our survivors are, you got Seth, Franco, Craig Robinson,
Jonah Hill.
You got Jonah Hill, Jay,
Danny McBride,
and Danny McFucking
How do you forget
Bride.
Danny McBride? This whole thing.
Well, because this is where he gets introed, right? He wasn't invited to the party.
Yeah, he wasn't invited. Yeah.
I love how they bring Danny McBride into this.
Because like every character Danny McBride ever plays is the person you want to punch in the face. And like they just don't change that with him. Like that's what I think is funny with this is everyone else gets a flip side.
Yeah.
But like you get just Danny McBride in every other movie that he's in. But again, maybe it's just because again he's the nicest guy in the world and the most thoughtful guy in the world. And they're like, it's just funny that you're a piece of shit.
I think when it came to McBride, they probably just told him to like just be that character that you are.
Right. Because they needed.
It's probably the funniest thing that they could have him do.
Oh, 100%.
And I think they even said he would kill takes in this movie constantly because he made everyone laugh hysterically.
Oh, 100%.
There was no keeping a straight face with him.
Every line he has is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I think this is, to this day, like this is his funniest movie or thing that he's ever done.
100%, I agree. Like it's got to be the best performance he has, for sure. Like all the one-liners, just the way he plays the character, and it's so good.
I love how Seth Rogen shoots this scene too, like with the slow motion, and he's wasting all the water and he's cooking all the food. Like it's just such a great montage. It's so well visually pieced together. It's perfect because it's just an immediate way for Franco to Franco flips on him. They all start ganging up on him. It's immediately like
the jizz scenario was like the first thing, right?
Well, no, that was during because
that was the first time they
because he wastes all the water up front and they all fucking like hate him immediately.
It wasn't the water comes later, I thought.
No. Remember when Danny McBride first gets introed, he's washing himself with all the bottled waters.
The little bottled waters. Yeah.
And so like, and he cooks all their food. Like he basically depletes them down to almost nothing. Like he just doesn't give a fuck.
He basically cooks all the rations for the day and all the water.
Yeah. He's unaware of any of what's going on outside. So he didn't experience what they did.
Yeah. He's passed out in a bedroom somewhere.
Yes. So he, they wake up, he made all the food. Mm-hmm. They're all fucking pissed at him.
What the fuck, man? Stop eating,
But as a result, like, they're like, well, we have to get more water. So I think like
that's where they have to go out into the basement.
No, but they draw the straws first, and like Craig Robinson tries to go out to. There's like, I guess there's a way out of Franco's house that gets you to the basement.
It's like the storm doors, like that. Like this fucking compound ass house, and I gotta leave to go to storm doors to get to the basement. Like that's my only way.
That is fucking weird. It's sort of a flaw in the movie, but whatever.
So now they have to dig
through that concrete block. Mm-hmm. So while they're digging, that's the thing you're referring to, is that jizz scene when like Danny McBride is like he's so good. He's had enough, right? It's like it's him and Seth Rogen. They're like trying to break through the floor.
The nudie mag, and he jizzed in the mag. And he's like, "Who did this?"
Well, no, Franco comes up because they're working, right? They're like trying to tunnel through the floor, and McBride's like, "This sucks." He's like, "I'm so fucking thirsty," and the irony of this whole thing is, I'm not gonna get my thirst quenched until I fucking dig this hole. So he's all pissed off, and then Franco bursts in.
Yep.
Because what? Because he finds jizz on his
one
nudie mag.
And this just unleashes just so many jokes because like it's like, why do you even have a fucking nudie mag who has one porno mag in their house and nothing else, like no other ones, just this one that you picked up. And the fact again that they go just back and forth, because at this point I think it's also that Danny had overheard James talking about him and how he doesn't want to be friends with him anymore, right? So like there's just that tension, and that's where this comes from, of like James Franco's just like, I didn't fucking invite you here, and like now you're jizzing all over my shit, and he's like, I'll jizz wherever the fuck I want. Come wherever I want.
Wherever the fuck
I'll come right now. I'll come
right here.
All you. They're just doing this and fucking like this motion. I'm dead.
Oh my God. It really is amazing. Like
this it goes on for so
improv
long.
Back and forth thing is so fucking good.
It's so good. And it's also like I when I watch movies like this for like the second, third time, you just think about the filming of that scene and like, all right, James Franco's going to come out and start an improv moment and you don't even know what he's going to start with. Right? Like I imagine him just like randomly coming out and they not have any idea, and he breaks out this magazine and starts yelling about.
I wonder if it was improv to that degree, or
I wonder.
I bet you they probably plotted some stuff like, all right, you for some reason, because you're weird, you still have like porn magazines.
Right, but like do they map it out to the
Franco's probably like, that's actually a good idea. Like that's a funny anecdote. And then they're probably like, but he, like McBride, fucking, he's jizzed on it.
Right, but I'm saying like,
I bet you Seth Rogen
I don't know if it got that deep of like, Danny jizzes on your magazine and now improv that. Or if it just comes out as like, you have the nudie magazine and something's wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's milestones that they're supposed to hit in the story. Yeah. And then they just fill in the gaps, but they're just...
I mean, they had to, because they map it out as like, we've got a Snickers bar, this is it, and then one nudie mag. And like, it's like, why is that even in the lineup? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's fucking Franco. He is a goddamn nudie mag. Oh my God, it's so
funny.
I like how they do like the home video stuff too.
They're filming the confessionals.
Yeah, they film the confessionals.
The Jonah confessional.
Yeah.
It's like something happened last night.
They film their own version of Pineapple Express 2. Amazing.
But like, I think of the end of the world, and I feel like that's something like you and I would do. Like we were in quarantine early on, and what did we do? We shot a fucking music video.
Exactly.
In our garage.
And that's a cool way to like, it's a cool way to take your mind off of a situation, right?
Create art.
Yeah. So I 100%.
The most logical thing they do in this entire movie was film the Pineapple Express Part 2 when everybody is there. Like, and they have nothing else to do.
There's the confessionals are great. We get the one with Craig Robinson where he's drinking his own pee out of a martini glass. And then he's like, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. Not that bad.
He's like, it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
And then I think they just immediately contrast that with Seth Rogen just firing piss like straight into his mouth from his penis. Like he's not even drinking it out of a glass.
Craig's all classy about it, and Seth Rogen's just a fucking animal, which again makes sense to me. Like Seth Rogen comes, his characters are always the like dirty frat boy who drinks the beer from last night when he wakes up and, you know, smokes the cigarette or the joint that's half done in the ashtray. Like, that's the visual I have of him.
Yeah. I mean, it just works, though.
In 40-Year-Old Virgin, Zack and Miri make a porno.
See, I wonder, though, if I think he's probably crossed a threshold in his career now, though, where I don't think he can
He's not that anymore.
He can't play that character anymore.
I mean, I feel like he still could, but he would play, it's like, what's the...
It would be in a different way.
Neighbors with Zac Efron?
He's a like much more subdued version of himself.
Right, but he's still that guy. Right. But it's almost like what you're saying. He plays it up that as like, all right, I'm too old for this shit now. But if I do it in this way, as like a high school Harry reliving his days. Yeah.
I love the Emma Watson situation. She makes her way back to them.
Yep, and they it turns it again.
Fucking hell.
Once again, if you're triggered by things and mad at like controversial statements.
Yeah, like I don't know if you could make this joke in a movie.
I don't know if you could now, but like again, no one was actually talking about doing this. They were actually talking about not making her feel that way in a room of men in the end of the world, which is actually very nice to acknowledge.
But I love that. I love that it just all escalates to just be fingers pointed at Jay.
Yeah, they're like Jay's definitely the one who's gonna rape her, exactly. And they're like, what?
Well, because they're like doing what you're saying. They're protecting her, and then Jay is like he hints at something that can kind of be misconstrued. Yeah, and they're like, "Whoa, Jay, that sounds pretty rapey."
Yeah, it sounds pretty rapey, man.
They immediately just
James Franco though, and honestly, James Franco is the one that I would probably assume first.
I think he did get Me Too'd.
I think he did get Me Too'd too. Yeah. So not that far off.
Right. Danny McBride's like, if anybody's gonna rape Emma Watson, it's gonna be Jay here.
Yeah. You think he's gonna say me, like I'm gonna have sex with her.
So she comes storming out with the axe and just smashes Seth Rogen right in the face. So now we start getting into like the horror stuff though, like the demons and stuff start coming out. Shit, like hell is like spilling over into the world.
It starts getting harder and harder for them to just stay in the four walls because they're running out of options.
Yeah,
and they have to go find more food and this and that.
Craig and I think Jay, they get confronted by that hellhound thing. Yeah. That thing is cool.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You know, I was kind of surprised at like the creature design. I wonder if they had an input in it because it does sort of have like a stylized look to it. Like,
I mean, imagine a high as fuck Seth Rogen.
It could have been scarier than it is. It does still look scary and cool, but I feel like it could have been more. Yeah. More terrifying.
I mean, just imagine high Seth Rogen, like describing to the 3D designers, like, all right, I have this idea, and this is what it looks like. He just explains the key points of its visual,
and that's what
and then they just have to create it. So it's like it's very feasible that they talked about it.
I'm sure he had creative input.
Not just like make me this hellhound.
The demon fucking rapes Jonah Hill and possesses him.
Yeah, he's like, something happened last night. And he's just staring like...
That rolls into the exorcism of Jonah Hill sequence with the power of Christ compels you. Oh, does it, Jay? Does it compel me?
Does it, Jay? Is it compelling enough?
It's not that compelling.
And then it's like, is that it? That's all you say? Like, that's the only line they took from it?
He does just keep saying it over and over.
Like, there's more to the exorcism than just that line.
But I think probably one of the funniest parts of the movie, the Danny McBride cannibal scene. Right? Do you remember this?
Yes.
They come across McBride somehow. I don't remember how, but he has like a whole like crew of cannibals that follow him.
It's because they oust him.
Yes.
In like early on, and they're just like, you can't stay here. You're gonna kill everything for us. And he's like, it's fine, man.
Right.
It's fine. And then he leaves. You're gonna send me out there with nothing, so they give him the gun.
Yeah.
So you obviously just perceive that like when he gets out there, you think he's just gonna die, but like he survives because he's a crazy lunatic, and he finds this tribe of people.
Yeah, he fucking kidnaps Channing Tatum as his sex slave. Fucking hilarious. There's a cool little callback that happens here because Franco goes to confront McBride, right? He's going to sacrifice himself, and now he's going to get sucked up into heaven. And he's like taunting McBride about it. He's like, fuck you, like suck my dick. And then boom, they fucking shoot him back down.
Yeah.
And McBride starts fucking eating him.
Yep.
But I like the callback to, if you remember earlier in the movie when they're at the party and they're talking about how they're going to make Pineapple Express 2.
Yeah.
Franco says that his idea in the script is that it ends with Danny McBride's character eating him.
Oh, that's right.
So I was like, oh, that's cool how they did the little
They came
callback.
around.
It was a cool way to kill off Franco, like for him to go out the way that he had suggested. In
for another
Express
movie. Yeah. Oh my God, that's so good. Fucking Danny McBride, man.
Yeah.
The cannibal. Dead.
I mean, he would. That just makes perfect sense, though. That
100%.
character.
He would 100% just rally a bunch of like lunatics behind him.
I love the little skull hat that they give him. What do you think of the fucking Backstreet Boys ending, though?
Oh my God, it's my favorite.
Really?
I love that.
That's satisfying to you.
It's again not because like I think it makes it a great movie. It's like Austin Powers. They do the same shit with the Britney Spears montage and stuff. Like it's just like a fun,
it's just like a goofy
stupid
way to
fun
end it.
thing. Yeah. Like they talk about the song in it and like it's just I don't know, it's just funny.
It is just, it's so random.
I just love it. I think it's so random that it's like hilarious.
Yeah.
And again, it's like a weird cameo movie. Like it's like not a, we're not talking like any like Scorsese here. We're talking about like a comedy horror.
Yeah. Well, not really horror, but I like the horror stuff that they put in it.
There's horror elements. There's the, the demon guy with his
It's
giant
the heaven
dick.
and hell thing. It's like the most basic format.
But they go straight demons. Like you don't see anything heavenly. You see all the demonic shit. So makes it horror.
Well, when they get to heaven, they have the halos and
they're up in heaven. But I'm saying like that's what the last 5-6 minutes of the movie. The whole movie is shrouded in demons and hell.
True. Well, it's the end of the world.
Oh God.
All right. Well, that'll do it for episode 27.
Oh wait, no, we have to talk about
what?
Super Fight.
Okay.
So, ironically, there's a 3-way tie.
Are you fucking serious?
I'm dead serious.
For Super Fight?
So, no winner yet. I'm gonna have to repost that and get some more votes.
Holy shit.
Motherfuckers out here saying that I was out. Y'all said I had no chance. How you feel now, bitch?
I don't get that. That makes me question the audience. That's all right.
Just saying. I don't know. There might be some cheating in there. Lacey might have voted for herself twice.
Maybe Freddy Krueger carries some weight.
He does carry some weight. This is a horror podcast.
I know.
Obviously, it carries weight. Our audience understands that Freddy has many abilities.
The tear gas, though.
Okay, but I don't need it. I didn't need the extra. I was fucking Freddy Krueger. I can do many things.
All right.
I'm a shapeshifter by nature.
I don't remember the shape-shifting, really.
You don't remember in the movies where he's, I don't know, a giant snake penis that swallows a girl whole?
I mean, yeah.
You don't remember when he gets giant and his arms stretch out super long?
So goofy, but
and but he's a shapeshifter. He can literally change.
So what is like creating just longer noodle arms doing? Like, why is that
I'm using that just as examples that would be relevant in your mind right now in terms of like, oh yeah, you're right.
No, I know. He can do a lot of
He can get super big.
He can do some freaky things for sure.
That's what I mean. And he has knife fingers.
Yeah. You have to try to terrorize Wolverine and a Sasquatch, though. Those are not easy things to terrorize.
Okay, fair enough. But it's still possible.
Yeah. All right.
Sasquatch is like not scary. Your biggest thing is your card that you can summon animals. You could be like, oh, you know what? Here's a fucking moose, dude. What are you talking about?
Sasquatch is fucking
it's
terrifying.
Not.
Yes,
Sasquatch hasn't attacked anybody. Like, it's not a story of it. It's like a mysterious, hairy man who lives in the woods that we don't know is real or not.
First of all, it's a mythical creature, but it's like a 16-foot tall,
but no one knows if it's violent.
Gigantic bear gorilla. Like,
no one knows if it's violent.
It's violent in a fight.
You don't know that.
Oh, come on. Yes, you do.
How do you know?
Because that's how nature works.
That's not enough.
Okay. It doesn't exist. So Sasquatches have been aggressive in literature before.
I'm still mad about this. I'm not going to let it go. And I hope I win just so that I can be like to all of you.
Well, if you win, I call bullshit.
Okay. Well, you can tally the votes yourself and see that it's real.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up. And maybe next time we'll have more clarity.
Maybe.
All right, that's it. Remember,
we don't give awards for art.